Thank you so much, friends. A very good evening. And this is the second session that we are doing. We just did it 2 days back with CAMS. This regulatory changes, which is the two-factor authentication that we have, which is going to be implemented from 1st of July. We're doing this event with KFintech for you to understand, saying that what are the necessary actions that you need to take at your end so that the transactions become very smooth. Today we have Mario S. Roche. Currently, he's the KFintech's Chief Operating Officer. He takes care of the domestic mutual funds. He comes with 23 years of industrial experience in BFSI sector with a proficiency in channel strategy, agent banking model, digital payments, retail banking, relationship management, marketing, sales and business, operations with a flair in managing growth, optimizations, and long-term strategies. He has been working with KFintech since April 2017 in various departments and roles like banking, branch banking, digital assets, branch sales, before his assignment as the Chief Operating Officer of domestic mutual funds. Thank you so much, Mario, to accept our request to come and guide all the members at FIFA, so that it will help them to enable to have a clear strategy about how to go forward. So today, friends, I just wanted to share what Mario is going to actually cover. The kind of topics that he actually wants to cover is A, pool account implementation, which is the two-factor authentication, and also the third-party verification. B, he talks about email and mobile validation, how we would be, you all will need to do. C, it will be an IFA mobile and email cleanup for investors' folios. D, he also will talk about family flagging. E, nomination made mandatory or the declaration. He also will cover the ARN renewal time, which has been reduced to 1 month. Sorry. These are the topics that Mario will be covering. I would request each member again, just like last week, if you could raise up your questions. I will try and answer most of your questions, read those questions for the answers that Mario can help us. And the floor is open for you, Mario.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Rupa. Thanks for the wonderful introduction.
I think, Mario, you need to be a little more audible.
Okay. So yeah. I hope this is better now.
Yeah, a little better, but it could be a little more clearer. Yeah, closer to the mic or so.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Thanks for the introduction and introducing me to the fraternity. Good evening, everyone. Good evening to the entire fraternity. Welcome to this session, and it gives me immense pleasure to address all of you.
Mario, if you can just show your face, really nice. We can't
I need to stop sharing for some time then, because
just maybe you can introduce and then go to sharing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi.
Good evening, everyone. As I said, good evening again.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining this session. It gives us immense pleasure to take you all through the regulatory changes and also give you a flair of how KFin is trying to enable the changes and adopt to the regulations. I have with me here my colleague and head of compliance, Mr. Parameshwaran. I just wanted to introduce him as well. He's sitting right next to me.
Hi, Mr. Parameshwaran. Good evening.
Hi. Good evening to all of you.
And while the topics have been covered by Rupa in a gist, we have put up a small presentation and also to tell you what kind of platforms and application submission methodology that you all can adopt. At the same time, one small correction, Rupa, it's been a goof up from my end. The ARN validity still is at 3 months, not just 1 month.
Not yet 1 month. Yes, I read it, but the notification has come yesterday. Yeah.
Yes. So that is about it. Let me, without wasting any further time, start sharing my screen and take you all to for the sake of discussions, I'll just stop my video because I'll not be able to see my face.
Sure. Absolutely.
Thanks. Yes. I hope my screen is visible now.
Yes,
sir.
it is.
Yeah, perfect. So the first regulatory change that we are talking about is the third-party validation, which you all are aware of at this point of time. This is nothing. This also has a dependency on the discontinuation of pool account and the fund transfers as of now through various platforms, as well as through some of the individuals and exchange platforms which are coming, were actually pooling the funds into their account, and they were sharing the credit MIS to us, which has been discontinued. And the regulation says the funds has to be debited from the investor bank account and directly credited to the AMC account. This has been the regulation. The actions that have been enable for the stakeholders, which is all of you, including the channel partners, is all the transaction level credit, whatever was earlier sent to us as the credit MIS after the funds was transferred, to be directly transferred to AMC account, and that could be done through a payment aggregator and clearing corporations who have been
Mario,
given
can
a.
I stop? Mario, your presentation is just stuck on the front page. It is not moved.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Has it come now?
No.
No.
You stop screen sharing and start.
Now
Yeah.
it's come. It had come.
Okay.
Oh, there must be some lag.
It just came now. So it's, yeah.
Is it on the screen where third-party validation and the regulation discontinuation?
Yeah. And they say that, can you please increase the screen size? Because the screen size has become too small. That's what I can read on the.
But I'm on a full screen mode, presentation mode.
No, it is not.
So you'll have to go below. There's an icon on the right side of your PPT. It shows 75% on the right side.
Okay, 1 second, hold on. I think.
Yes, now it's 100%.
Is this better?
Wait, let me just chat. Yeah, maybe you can start.
Yes. So let me repeat this thing. So the third-party validation is linked to the discontinuation of pool account circular, whereby the funds have to be debited to the customer's account and directly credited to the AMC account without intermediaries holding the cash and sending us as it was done earlier, where the funds was transferred directly to the bank account from the channel partners or the members using platforms, and then a credit MIS was shared to us.
Okay, so now there is a full screen. So if you go on your, because your screen is small, it seems. If you go, there is a small icon which talks about just below the volume side. First, it's note, connect, comments. Third, there's 4 dots. No, after that.
Yeah.
After that. Yeah, just press that.
Oh, I was on that only. I was on slide share mode.
No, it's not, because we can't see that. Yeah, it's still on its screen is small. We can't see the full screen. But anyway, you continue.
All right.
Yeah.
Is it any better now? Because I'm already on the full screen mode. At least I can see my screen on the full screen mode.
Okay, carry on. I'm sure they will share on the chat. I'll keep it.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So as part of the implementation, we had given the platforms 168 feet format, and we have asked the members to give us a source bank account details from where the credit is coming into the AMC account.
Yeah.
Now, platforms will ensure, platforms, when I say, it will be through payment aggregators or to the banking channel or to the clearing corporations. are also to ensure that TPV third-party verification checks are done for all the bank accounts which are debited from and being credited into the AMC account. The source bank account, as I updated, has been updated into the formats where the transaction MIS is shared, and and also the same thing is flowing into the RTA records. The only
sorry to, if you have any technical guy in your office, maybe somebody from the IT who can help you, because everyone writes your screen is too small. You can continue, but in the meantime, if you can just ask somebody to come and help you.
Okay, just let me call someone.
You can continue, but in the meantime, you can call. Yeah.
Sure, I'll do that. Yeah, and the only exception to this third-party verification as of now is exchanges till date and banking channel partners and clearing corporations exchanges only. But from 1st of July, and I think they have taken extension now till 15th of July, 1st of July. From 1st of July, they will also fall into the ambit of third-party verification. What we are doing as an RTA to do an independent check for third party, whatever transaction feeds that we get through all of you, with the source, that is pay in bank account details, we do a penny drop on those bank account and do a name matching. If the name matching is successful, automatically the system will go and do a third party flagging into the transaction. The TPV failed transaction, that means if the transaction, and we also are trying to do a verification wherein to check if the account holder is of the bank account holder is a joint bank account holder between family members, and then flag off the system. If the third party verification is failing, then the transactions are bound to be rejected and the amount will be refunded to the source from where the amount is coming. For example, if BillDesk is an aggregator for a certain transaction, the refunds also will be shared to BillDesk, and BillDesk will in turn share it to the respective source platforms or ARNs from where the transaction, intermediaries from where the transaction has been initiated. So, Rupa, should we take questions on this particular topic now, or we continue with this and at the end we take?
So basically we can continue. Let me see what is written in the chat. I just saw one question which was written is, Paresh writes saying that, does this mean amount transferred to NSE account will not work going forward?
No, I say NSE, the amount going to NSE clearing corporation, they are allowed to pull the money and give the credit to AMCs. So whatever amount you are transferring through via NSE collection account, so that is allowed. So because NSE is taking care of the whether NSCCL takes care of whether the money is received from the customer account to the NSE account. That validation.
Yeah. So before we start this, okay, let's start from the beginning to believe, saying that the first premise, when this 1st of July, when this gets into operational, the first thing as a distributor, the first premise that he has to do is his data, which is data that he has inputted in the NSE and the BSE account, that account opening has to match with the data of RTA agents.
Bank account detail as concerned.
Not bank account, email and the mobile number.
Yes, 100% you are right. Yes, it has to match with the RTA database. You are right.
Correct. So RTA database becomes the premise that database of email IDs and the mobile number has to exactly match which is available in the NSE and the BSE records. When we have open, correct? Now,
yes.
And the next question is, if somebody has to find out, if all of us need to find out, where is that mismatch? Okay, where is that mismatch happening? Which is the kind of report that K-Fintech offers, where I can actually go back and check for all our clients that where is that it is matching or not?
Yeah, Rupa. So the next topic in the presentation is a 2FA, which
Yeah.
is carrying that particular information. So we are on the first topic, which is
Okay.
PPV, and which is where the requirement, as you said, is about the transaction feed carrying a particular account number,
Yeah.
and the same account should be given to the aggregators as well for them to carry on the transaction on the customer's account. In few instances, we found, because we've implemented this to the channel partners, in few instances,
non-exchange.
we are non-exchange platforms. We found that transaction feed is coming with a particular account number, which is not same as what we are getting from the payment aggregator.
Which is bank account.
Yeah, which is bank account. So we need to ensure that whatever bank account is mentioned in the transaction feed is the same account which is also given to the aggregator, payment aggregator or clearing corporation, for them to take successfully process the transaction and then give us a feed. That's the first premise that I would request for this topic.
Okay. So which means the first topic that you are discussing is saying that the first premise that you will check is the name, the bank account number from where the money is coming, right?
Absolutely, yes.
Correct. So if a client has, say, 5 or 6 bank accounts and he transfers the money, so which means on the NSE or the BSE where I have put the details of the clients, I will have to input all those 5 bank accounts.
No, if he's transferring from 5 different bank accounts, then that should be 5 different transactions, right?
So, mostly you would have already registered the multiple bank mandate in the NSE or BSE platform.
So no, if he has not done, if that has not been done, because
Right.
as of today, what is happening is I have registered one bank account in the with the RTA, correct? And what happens is today the checks can come from different bank accounts with the name printed, and the AMC accepts that particular purchases.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Correct?
Yes.
Now in the new system, what you are saying is you are also going to map the bank account from where the money is coming in with the RTA registration in the RTA.
No. Okay. Now give a clarity here.
Yeah.
Basically, pay in account. Actually, there is no need to be registered with the NSE or BSE platform. Actually, there can be a new account. Okay, but only thing is, in the transaction, you have to whatever account number you are going to provide. Okay, and which account, through the account where you are going to debit customer account, because independently your payments are commuted through the payment aggregator only. Maybe either one of the service provider, bill desk or bill junction. So Razorpay and all. So they will be independently providing the source bank account from the banks. Okay, so that is also, there are two information. One information inputted by you as a transaction level. Another information, the CCL, basically for SNG, NSE, BSE, both the cases CCL, clearing corporation, they are going to get the data from the payment aggregator. So the payment aggregator will be providing the account number from where they're getting the credit. Okay, so that account number happened to be a customer account number, then your TPV is taken care. So there is no need to be that account number is to be available in RTA record. Because that if you are giving for every transaction, the customer can have his own account number, but account number should be pertain to the customer account only. The credit should come from his account. So that should be certified. I mean, CCL can able to verify through the aggregator feed, whatever they are going to get.
Okay. So comparing that to whatever you said, Rupa, this is Mario this side, that was Subrata speaking.
Yeah.
In the physical, sorry, that was Param speaking, not Subrata, sorry. In the physical application, like you said, the customer can give a check of any bank, not necessarily registered with the RTA.
Correct.
With the name printed.
Yeah.
In similar stance, when now when our partners are giving transaction feeds, whichever bank the customer is opting to be investing from, that information should be available in the transaction feed, and the same information should go to the aggregator.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, so it need not be registered in the records of RTA.
Okay.
Only thing is, both the sides, the account should be matching is the requirement.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
Perfect.
and then, like we said, we will do a penny drop on that particular transaction. a name will be given to us by the bank, and then we'll mark it for TPV.
Sure. So there are three, 4 questions which have come in. Okay. Which one talks about saying that what if the account name and the bank and the MF are different? Like the first name and the last name, or the initials not given. So, say, for example, if I'm just Rupa Venkatkrishnan and the bank account is Rupa V, will that be accepted? Will that be matched, or will that be rejected?
Yes, it will be accepted as long as Rupa Venkateshan will not become Mario.
Okay. Got it. Got it.
So we have an algorithm. We are using certain parameters to match the names.
Okay.
If the name matching percentage is to a certain threshold that we have, then it is automatically approved. If there's a slight mismatch, like you just said, Rupa Venkateshan, then Rupa V, it will go for a slight manual verification, and then we approve it as well.
Okay. So say, for example, if it is Venkatkrishnan Rupa and not Rupa Venkatkrishnan, then
it will go for auto match only.
The initial expansions will be allowed. So anything is in,
Okay. So even the first name reversal, like for example, Rupa Venkatkrishnan or Venkatkrishnan Rupa, that's absolutely okay to go through.
Absolutely okay. Order of thing also okay. Yes.
Okay. Fine.
Already taken care of the algorithm itself. We are taking care of it. Okay.
Sure. Sure. Okay. So that question is answered. Mohan writes, do investors need to have the same mobile number, email ID? Yeah, that we will have to answer later. I think we will come back to that in the next question, Mohan. Joginder Sharma writes, if a customer is a second and a third holder, will the transaction be processed by the third party verification?
Yeah, we will process the particular transaction. We are getting only there are limited banks, around 48 banks, where that today the aggregators through the IMPS we can able to verify the account holder even is a joint holder in the account. So penniless, that is called penniless method, where we can able to, if we pass on the PAN number, account number, name of the customer, then bank will confirm whether his account number name is available matching with second holder.
Okay.
Like that, they give a confirmation. Based on that confirmation, we can allow. If you know, then that is limited to 48 banks only, with the current service available. Beyond that banks, actually, if it happen to be a joint holder account payment, then we will be rejecting it.
Okay, so then could it be possible? So, Mr. Parmeshwaran, could it be possible for you to share that 48 bank accounts details so that we are aware, and when we are going to the client proactively, we can actually say that that particular bank account will have an issue. Then we have to do it manually. So then we are aware of it. So I would really appreciate if you could share those 48 banks, please.
Sure, I'll give to Mary.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
And also there are four banks. We will specify those banks who are not giving us the source bank name.
Okay.
And there the only option that we have to is to verify with the instrument that has been submitted earlier as an account opening form to the exchanges.
Sure. So also share me those 4 bank details so that we know saying that which are those.
Right.
Yeah. Thank you. And I think Manan has written saying that what if the first client has created a folio with one bank, and if later he adds another bank, so data won't be in RTA of the second bank. What will happen then?
So
no, we already replied. Actually, bank account, the pay-in account is concerned, it is not required to be registered at our end.
Correct.
Okay, so
you will match the name.
Payout account is required. That is to be available at our end. But pay-in is concerned, every transaction the customer can give his own account numbers, but it should his own account number. That's all.
Sure. Got it. So I hope we have answered all of that. You can move on. Next, Mario.
Coming back to the main topic, which is about email ID, mobile number, which we were talking about.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So maybe you'll have to change your screen now.
Yeah, I did. So my IT person is also here. We're trying to see if it is in full screen is what he says. I'm trying to zoom in further.
Okay.
Maybe this will help. Is it better now? I mean, if anyone.
They're saying go to slideshow, or
Yeah.
I'm already on the slideshow.
Or you should do F5. Just do F5.
No, I'm already on the slideshow, friends.
But your slide, we can't see it. You should do F5.
I think I removed the slideshow, zoomed it a bit, and then put it on slideshow. There's a lag, right? Maybe that is the reason.
No, because even when we can't read the full presentation. Somebody is writing, please remove the presentation shared on Zoom app. Yeah, this is better. This is better. This is better.
So I'll do one thing. I'll not put it on slide mode, but I'll just run through the slide.
Yeah, please do that.
Maybe the slide mode is creating an issue.
Yeah.
So the regulation for two-factor authentication states all the redemptions, all outward transactions should be accepted through any platform on a valid OTP triggered to the registered email and mobile numbers of the email or mobile numbers which are available in RTA records. Now for this, what we have done is we have provided a mailback report 211.
Mailback report 211. Okay.
Yeah, mailback report 211, where any of our partners can download the details of the investors and see what is the email ID and mobile number available in the records of the RTA.
Okay.
Okay, that is first point.
So it's called MFS 211?
Yes, yes.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. Second, we have developed an API and provided to platforms to fetch the contact details on the fly from RTA.
Okay.
This, if some partners have not adopted for it or not opted for it, we will share these details in the email over an email so that we can start enabling that to all others as well as requested.
The option is either you can download the feed file and you can compare, or if on the fly you want to check, use the API which we are already shared. We are shared with the exchange platform. We already given to them. So whether they enable the facility for you, I'm not aware about. But either you can directly use the facility of exchange platform, or you can, if somebody want to use directly at your end, also you can use the API. We will share that same.
Right.
Sure.
So now on the transactions, what will happen is the platform has to trigger an OTP, validate the OTP before any transaction to be initiated for RTS processing. That is the first point. And in the feed that they give us, the mobile number or email ID or both on which the OTP has been triggered will have to be shared with us.
Okay.
That is already being taken care by the exchange platforms.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Now, coming to updation of contact details in case of mismatch of the contact details between both the platform, RTA records as well as the NSE platforms, NSE or BSE platforms.
Correct.
Now, investor can, so this is the first set of MF Central that we have rolled out. It is as of now for direct investors. Not, when I say direct, it's not direct plan. It is for the investors to directly go and register himself. As of now, he can go and register, change the details on the mutual fund MF Central platform, sorry. And very shortly, within maybe maximum 2 months, we will also enable the same for all the distributor initiated transactions also.
Sure. So Mario, can I just interrupt you here?
Yes,
okay.
Please.
So there are in the MF Central platform, there are certain limitations to that extent, saying that there's some 10 lakhs limit for any change to be updated. Second, if there are joint holders, then the option is not available. It is only available for single holding accounts.
Single or anyone or survivor?
Anyone or survivor, it is not happening. We have a lot of distributors who have come and written to us saying that when it is anyone or survivor, that option is not available. It is only available for people who are single holders. Can you just confirm back to us on that?
I'm making a note of this. I will come back on an email, Rupa.
Yeah, and also on the limits for 10 lakhs, I think there are changes possible. About 10 lakhs, changes are not possible.
Correct. That is there. That is available.
Okay.
That is the limit is available. I am aware of it. Okay.
Yeah. And even, of course, it's not available for HUFs and not in non-individuals.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes, as of now, it's not available.
And minors.
Yes.
Yeah.
The next available option is physical request for change of contact details to be submitted either at the branch, which is an option, either to AMC branch or to RTS branch. And this can be done at a PAN level. There's a PAN level change of mobile and email request letter available on our website. I will also make it available. Rupa, you have that as well. I will mail it across again.
I will share it across with everybody. This evening, I'm going to share all of that to everyone.
Perfect. And that will also take care of the nominee, which I will come to the next part of it.
Sure.
But at a PAN level, we can get it changed.
Sure.
For KFIN as an RTA. All the agencies which are serviced by KFIN. Alternatively, whosoever are using the DIT platform, DIT app of KFIN, there is an option available to scan and upload the NCT request, non-commercial transaction request. It's called a phygital transaction mode, where any request signed by the investor can be clicked on the mobile app itself and uploaded through the platform. We will take that request as an authenticated request and we'll process the transaction at the back.
So this is available for all distributors and
yes.
Okay,
all
fine.
Distributors, and they can download this app on both iOS from both iOS platform as well as Android platforms. It's called the KFIN Card Distributor app.
Desktop version mode? Sure. And how about on the desktop version?
Desktop version, the scan and upload module is not available as of now.
Okay, so it's only available on the mobile app.
Yes.
Okay.
I will try and enable that as fast as possible, but as of now, it is not available. It's on the mobile app.
Okay, sure. Fine. Yeah. So one thing which I wanted to ask you, there's a question. So when somebody submits a PAN-based change of mobile and email ID to RTA, to KFinTech, how many days will it take for that change to get effective in the folio?
So the ideal TAT is 3 days at max.
Yes, if it is 3 working days, do you take authentication from the investors again and then do it? So will it take 3 days TAT time, or what is it? Is it been reduced from 7 days to 3 days?
7 days. So it is 3 days only as of now, Rupa. It is not. The 7 days was at least, if I know, almost 4 or 5 years back.
Sure. So Paresh, I think that has been answered.
We are working on a 3-day TAT.
It will be a TAT for 3 working days. And what is the cooling period?
Cooling period on a physical request, there is nothing because the signature will be matched. Okay. But if it's an online request, then there's a cooling period of 10 days.
Oh, the cooling period is on 10 days if it is mobile-based scan and send, right?
Correct.
Okay, 10 days.
Not mobile-based scan and send. This is, for example, MF Central.
Okay.
Or investor going and directly doing it on a transacting platform of KFIN or the AMC.
Okay.
Or online cases.
Okay. So
not the scan and upload model, we do a signature match and hence there is no cooling period.
Wherever signature is, we can able to match, there is no cooling period.
Okay. So friends, if there is anywhere where the signature is able to match, there is no cooling period. But if it is done through MF Central or any transaction to the AMC or through the portal, then there is a cooling period of 10 days. So I think that we have to take into cognizance, saying that it will take 10 days. That's a cooling period. Yeah, carry on.
Yeah.
So can I take some questions here, Mario, or have you done, or should I?
Sure. There, the RTA will do independent checks is a point there. It's written on front of it, so I don't have to explain separately. We can take questions.
Okay, so then the next question is, if X email ID of a client is updated in the folio and he does not have an additional purchase form of NSE BSE where Y email is available, which email ID will get registered after the transaction goes through? No, I'm not able to understand this. So basically, he's asking only one thing, which is the email ID that you will take as a primary email ID. It is always the RTA agent's email ID, which will be the primary email ID, right?
Correct. Yes, you are right. And also, any change in email ID and all, we cannot accept through any additional purchase transaction and all. We will not be doing that. So, it's an email ID updation, mobile number updation should be in separate NCT request we are supposed to provide.
Correct.
So, not for the along. Yeah.
Got it. So Vishesh, it's very clearly said it cannot be done through additional purchase. It has to be done through the form which is there for which is PAN-based application form, that you have to change your email ID and the mobile number. Next question is from Bharat. He says, if we have a PAN-based form for contact details updation, can we mention all the folios in? No, it will be only K Fintech will only do for K Fintech. You will, for CAMS, it's a separate form that you will have to submit at CAMS. Paresh again writes, under DIT mode, scan and upload updation, are the changes being executed instantaneously? I think you guys have answered that. Maybe you can take it.
No, it is not instant. It is generally a physical request, but with a convenience of uploading through a mobile app.
So it is again T+3.
Correct.
It's a TAT of 3 days.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Amrit writes, which report is required to download to check email ID in K Fintech? I have just written a message above, which is MFS 211 report.
Yes.
Dheeraj Mittal writes, when email and mobiles are changed in KYC, that K Fintech updated it in their folios.
No, as on today, we are not updating the mobile number, email ID available in the KYC record.
Yeah.
Okay, because we already the folio having a mobile number, email ID. If it's a blank, then only we are updating from the KYC records. So, and once again value is getting populated, so the subsequent unsolicited feed data we are not updating. So, answer to you, so KYC record data is not getting updated.
So KYC data doesn't get updated, Dheeraj.
As on today, there are a lot of discussion going on. Maybe down the line it will be going to happen. We'll be updating it. That today it is not getting updated.
As on today, it is not, but there is a discussion happening at AMFI and SEBI level with some recent notifications that we got. They will recommend updation of contact details and name as well as per the KRA only, but that will be in future whenever that notification comes out. Yeah.
Sure. As of now, they will not take it from the KYC, Dheeraj. And
Yes.
Mehul writes, what if different email IDs registered in 2 different AMCs? Which email ID will you consider by K Fintech? Actually, it is folio based, right?
Yes,
Exactly.
Exactly.
It will be, Mehul, it will be folio based email ID, which has to be specified. Siddhi writes, can we mention all folios of Karvi on one single PAN updation form? You don't have to mention any folio numbers. You just have to mention the PAN and all the PANs which are registered attached to that folio everywhere it will get changed. Correct me if I am wrong, Mario.
Correct.
Yeah.
There is an option to write folio number as well in the application form, but if only the PAN number is given, that is also good enough.
Good enough. Yeah. Arthur writes, 211 report don't have folio units. 1 minute. Folio units, CAMS provides the same. Better if you can do it for us.
The 211 report is a profile information, and hence we don't give the units. There is another report. I will ask my colleague to write that on the chat.
Yes.
Gautam, just write that report. number,
in
they
that
will
in that report, mobile email ID is available. In that report is available, but only thing is that is an incremental type of things.
Correct.
That is, we cover huge data, so that will be.
The size of that report is pretty lengthy, and hence we advise to accept 211 report. Download the 211 report.
No, but what is right is saying that how will we check the folio numbers? We would require the folio numbers to at least get that authentication, no?
That is
This is available, no?
yeah, that is available.
No,
Folio number available. Closing balance not there at all. You cannot see that.
okay, units are not available, but folio number is available. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Niyati, the forms for CAMS and Carvi, I will be posting on all the FIFA groups. Just after this thing, I will be posting that particular, because I've already confirmed with K FinTech and CAMS that particular form. I will be sharing it today. I will post it after this particular event is over. Gautam writes, if unit balance is available, then only can be placed. Okay. Dhaval writes, if there are different email IDs in different folios, a consolidated statement triggered across all RTAs will come to which email ID?
Whichever email ID is common across, only then it will be coming. Otherwise, if there are different email IDs in different folios, consolidated report will be triggered to which ID is the question.
Folio level only.
It is folio level.
Folio level. It's going to be folio level information. Whatever there are 5 email IDs available, different folio, all 5 will be
separately sent.
Distributor ARN code is there. That is the they'll get all their customer data.
So Dhaval, it will be folio level. All the emails that you get will be under folio level emails, whatever is registered under each folio. Okay. Pooja writes, in case name of the client is not printed on the check, will the check get accepted? Also, in this case, will transaction get rejected or not?
We will not be able to accept the check if the verification, if the penny drop fails. It has to be a printed check.
Okay.
Check with printed name on it.
Okay. Mr. Bharat Kumar, if you are not on FIFA group, I am sure that you are not a FIFA member. So you will have
one alternate that is there for that particular check issue.
Yeah.
They can get as an attestation from the banker, or bank statement can be provided as the proof.
When can that be provided?
When they initiate a transaction, they can either submit that along with the transaction, which is the application form, in addition to the transaction fee.
Okay, fine. So I think, Pooja, you got your answer. Sushmita S writes, in which group can I get the link where you post these forms? I think Sushmita and Bharat, both of you are not FIFA members, so that's why you won't be able to get it, but we posted on all. Please get connected with me and I'll send it across to you. Siddhi writes, how do we submit PAN updation forms if there are different modes of holdings in various folios? Should we submit separate forms according to the mode of holding?
Yes, ideally all the either and survivor and single can be coming in one request. If it's a joint, it has to be signed by both that's a separate request.
So which means if all the three if any of those holdings are joint holdings, if all the three are signing, then even if it's a single holding everywhere, it will get updated, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So ideally, you should take everybody's signature, husband, wife, husband, son, whatever is that joint holding, take the signature and give, even if it's a single holding, it get updated. Priyesh writes, if I have different email addresses in Exchange and Folio, then will it reject that? Will the transaction get rejected outright or given an option to change the email? I think it will get rejected outright.
Correct.
Am I correct?
You're right. Yes, you're right. You're correct.
Priyesh, immediately it will outright, it will get rejected. You won't have a choice to change the email. That is why that exercise of doing that matching of your email is necessary today. Yeah, I think I've finished all the questions. You can carry on, Maria.
We'll go to the next topic then.
Absolutely.
Next topic is about email ID, mobile number validations, which we've already covered in terms of the investors. Another validation that we have to do is about distributors' email ID and mobile number, which is available in investors' folio.
No, actually, no.
There are 2 points.
Before the 2 points.
Okay.
So email ID, mobile number, independently, we are also very validating. So actually, validation basically wherever the email triggered is getting delivered to the customer, then that email ID we consider as a valid. And wherever it's odd bounces coming out from the aggregator, then we are marking as a invalid. And we'll be sending a communication, remove that value and send an alternative mode communication to the investors, saying that your email ID is in bounce. So you'll be provide an alternate email ID. Otherwise, you cannot able to do any transaction through using email ID.
Yeah, sorry, this first point I missed. So if the email, whatever email ID is being now changed and submitted in the RTA records, if we trigger the transaction communications on if the email gets bounced, then alternative communication will be sent on the mobile number. If the mobile SMS sent on the mobile is bounced, we send an alternate communication on the email ID. And whichever value we found a bounce in our records, we will remove the value from our record.
So automatically you will be cleaning up that whole space of if something is not valid.
Yes.
Exactly. Yes, you're right.
Okay, got it.
That we are also doing a domain validation whenever we get a record communication details.
Syntax validation, domain validation, that is normal validation process. But over and above to that, even though valid email, but it's not getting delivered, maybe hard bounce.
So that's a point number 2, sub-registration point number 2. Sub-regulation point number 3 is we are doing a deduplication for distributor or intermediaries email ID and mobile number, as well as AMC or RTS employees email ID and mobile number in investors folio. Okay, and as per the regulation, it is very clear that only investors' mobile ID, email number should be available in RTA records. If it's a family folio of a distributor, if it's a family member of a distributor and distributor wants to continue his email ID, mobile number, there's a link that is being triggered to their respective email IDs.
No.
Before that.
Before that, okay. Actually, now wherever distributor email ID is available in the investor folio, then first of all, we will be sending a communication saying that for all, I'm talking about existing account. Existing account, we are sending a communication now. It's going to trigger from our end, saying that 15 days window will be given. After 15 days, that particular email ID or mobile number will be removed from the customer account. The expectation is if the distributor is happen to be want to provide a family declaration for the particular folio, then they can submit a family declaration form. That's what the regulations talks about. You can, with the family flagging tag, we can allow to keep that particular email ID there.
Okay.
So that again, family flag means is a dependent child or father, like that. There's a 5 different category has been defined by a regulator. So that any one of the relationship, we are allowed to declare and we can retain the same email ID for multiple customers.
So I have a question here. I have a lot of investors who are like housemaids, drivers, there are staffs. I go to small villages where those villagers do 100 rupee, 500 rupee SIP. Those people are not even savvy who have fancy mobiles, correct? Now, if their mobile numbers have to be done, how email ID and updation has to be done? Can we give can they give an authorization letter and have email IDs of the distributors or anyone maybe in the family?
No. That authorization not allowed. Okay. So basically the real relationship people, the family relationship only is allowed.
Okay. So for all of those transactions, there will be only physical transaction. We cannot have an online transaction there.
Exactly. You're right. Yes.
For all those categories who are there, who are doing 100 rupee, 200 rupee, 500 rupees SIP, who don't have the email IDs and who don't have the latest mobiles, and then which means all of those transactions will go through a physical mode. Appreciate it. Understand. Now, I just want to ask you one more thing. There is one more question. Amrit writes saying that if a person has updated the name in KYC, says removal of middle name or correction in spelling, will it be updated automatically in the folio or has to be sent it separately?
It has to be a separate request. Name change request is a separate request, and not name change. A modification of a name is a separate request with a clear proof, and that cannot be more than certain.
We lost you, Mario. Have we lost him?
Customer does not want email and mobile. And if KRA record the fetch karina update kar source,
Physical. Hello, Mario, I can't hear you.
chats
Yeah.
What he said, if in the folder there is no mobile and email, we will fetch from KRA, but existing we will not change. So folios there are no mobile and email which cannot give it. We update 3 his authorization has to be taken if the KRA is fetching this record.
Mario, we lost you. He's joining you. Mario?
Yeah. Ma'am, just hold, is doing something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hello?
sorry, I got
Mario?
disconnected
Yeah.
somehow.
Yeah.
We can continue.
So Mario, I was asking a question. Which was the question? We were with Amrit's question saying that if a person has updated, just a sec. If a person has updated the name in the KYC, say removal of middle name or correction in spelling, it will be updated automatically in folios or has to be a separate. So it has to be separate.
Correct. I was just about to, I was just touching on that point. It has to be separate as long as it's not a complete change in the name.
Okay.
Supported by the proof of change.
So when would this change happen is when a person gets married. For a woman, if she gets married, there is a change. So it is marriage certificate. Or in case when there is a divorce, when the name changes, or there are certain people who do name change, then when they change the gazette and then the gazette application, right? These are the 3 options where it is available.
Correct.
So it is allowed, we can do that, but they have to give a separate request to us. We will also we collect the document and we'll make the change at our end.
So it is a separate request by way of a letter which has to be given with a supporting.
Correct.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So
And
Amrit,
the
you got the answer. You have to update it in the KYC and also send it across to the KRA, including CAMS and K FinTech separately for all the folios for the change in name. Correct?
Yes.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah. Okay. So Pooja Tambe writes, what if email and mobile number does not match with RTA? Will the transaction rejected or not? It will get rejected, right?
Correct. Rejected will get rejected.
Absolutely. Instantaneously, it will get rejected. Mehul, if I have different email IDs in two different folios, I do not wish to change them. Will I have to create two separate BSc NSC platforms? You cannot create B2 BSc NSC platforms.
Same holding pattern.
You cannot, in a same holding pattern, Mehul, you can't open two NSC BSc accounts. Paresh again writes, does this mean mobile and email ID both should be updated, matched with NSE or RTA record, or anyone will do? I think both has to match. It is not anyone to do both, even your NSE or RTA records, both has to match, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So, yeah. So there is a question saying that where do I get that family declaration form? So Mario, if you can just send me, in case if you can send me, yeah.
Yes, we will send that.
Just send it to me on WhatsApp. I'll email it to all the members and I'll send it across to them. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Sandeep Singh raised, will affidavit do in the name change procedure?
Not just the affidavit.
No.
It has to be gazette.
Yeah.
And for complete name change, then as per the court order, they'll have to also print that in the media for a complete name change. Yeah, that also has to be a part of the support.
KYC, PAN.
KYC, PAN, and the gazette certificate.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. If K FinTech provides live folio field in MFS 221, then easy for rectification. That's what Viresh Patel writes.
Live folio in 221.
Yeah.
MFS 221. Gautam, if you can just answer that on the chat, please. My colleague Gautam will post that in the chat.
Yeah, and Sonali writes all transactions. So the two factor KYC is only for redemptions. Is it for SIPs and SWPs which are registered after 1st of July, Mario?
It is applicable for
All outflows.
all outflows. There is no SAP.
So no, it is not for SIP or SWP, or SWP and systematic transfer plan.
Yeah, that's all. It is only out wherever you are making out. So basically, SWP, STP also out is there. Redemption also out is there. So SWP, STP, and redemption 3.
Correct. So I think Sonali, you've taken note of it. So it is on redemption, systematic transfer plan transactions the first time, and the SWP for the first time. There is a two-factor authentication which is required. Siddhi writes, should both email ID no match with?
One correction here. See, two-factor authentication confirmation required every time in the part of the transaction, but only thing is that email ID mobile will verify it. So that your feed file is supposed to have that mobile number because every transaction. Okay, so SWP you are not doing it. Okay, SWP is already registered. Sorry. Okay.
There's no change.
No change.
Sir, there's no change. No, it is only SWP and STP. First time I have to you need that authentication. After that, you don't need.
Correct. We'll
yeah. Siddhi, again, I think it's the same question saying that both email and mobile no match with NS RTA. Either of them should match. Both of them should match. Both your RTA records and your NSE BSE records should match exactly the same.
So all I can add is on a lighter note, either you update whatever is there in NSC in RTA or whatever is there in RTA in NSC.
NSE, yeah, one of them, correct. Live folio data will be available in Someone says that there is live folio data is available in 211 report.
This must be my colleague Gautam Ganta who handles the entire distribution.
Okay.
So his answer to someone arise whether a live account can be available in 211. Answer is given there.
I think for the switches also we will require the authentication, right?
Correct.
Yeah,
Okay.
switches also, for switches also there would be two-factor authentication. Yes, Sangeeta and Amit, yes, it will be required for switch too. Viren writes in CAMS web it is that only either on mobile should be matched. Okay, so in CAMS what they said is if one of them matches, it could be a mobile number or it could be your email ID. Even if one of them matches, then the transaction will go through. Can you just can you highlight on that?
Yeah. So actually, was the process common here also? There is no difference. Whenever we get a transaction file from exchange, they are supposed to provide email ID, mobile number, as well as that through which they said trigger the OTP. If they say confirming that both has been triggered, the OTP is triggered to both, and any one value is valid with the RTA database, then that particular transaction will go through.
Okay.
So,
okay. So one of them has to match. Even if both of them doesn't match, if one of them matches, then the transaction will go through. Yeah.
Suppose if in the feed file they give only mobile, then we will expecting mobile to be validated. Okay. Yeah. Wherever they're having both option, then anyone will check.
Yeah. So the clarity is saying that to get a clarity on this, if there is only mobile number registered in the RTA records, then your mobile number has to match. If the mobile and the email ID is given and one of will be matched. Correct?
Correct.
Yeah, correct. So Amit Sheth writes
one clarification here.
Sure.
So basically, in the feed file, there is a OTP triggered value. That's only there are three options given. Is either mobile M and email E or both. So
okay.
that we are validating that particular flag coming from the exchange platform.
Okay.
Somebody says email. Okay, then email is mandatory. Column supposed to be mandatory, and we will validate only email. Okay, even though mobile number is available, because mobile number will not be considered at all.
Because the OTP is not gone to the mobile.
Suppose in the file they're giving both, because the OTP has been triggered to both email and mobile, then we will email, mobile available both the value, the system will check, and anyone is valid, we allow the transaction.
So the platform, the exchange platform is giving us the value on which the OTP is triggered. If they say that OTP is triggered in either mobile or email or both mobile and email, and in our records, either of them are matching, either mobile or email is matching, any one is matching, we will validate.
Okay.
But if the exchange platform says OTP was triggered on an email, and in our records that email is not tallying, then we will have to reject.
Got it. So Amit Sheth writes that data received from MFS 211 shows different emails and different mobile numbers for same investor, different folios. What is registered in KYC? No, I think you will have to match. There's nothing which will be taken from the KYC. This has to be matched and changed as per the PAN and the entire for your all your folios again, Amit.
Yes. One submission that I want to make to all others here is, if the application that you submit, if the transaction did not carry an email or mobile earlier, we only then fetch the details from KRA records.
Yeah, okay, fine.
But if it is not required, it means it doesn't matter.
Okay. The Pratiksha writes, how can we update PAN numbers in Nippon MF Folio online? You just have to go on the website and change it, right?
No, PAN updation cannot be done on
PAN updation cannot be done.
Because PAN is the main value for them to log in.
Yeah. So it has to be done manually.
Correct.
PAN updation has to be done manually. It cannot be done online. Gautam writes, if OTP sent to mobile or mobile number should match. If OTP sent to email and number should match. Okay, got it.
Same topic that we spoke
Correct.
about.
Correct. If OTP sent on both email or this thing has to be matched. Correct. So if a customer has started investing first time only through BSE or NSE platform, and now he wants to change his email ID through physical request, then which signature will be taken into consideration, as it takes much time to AOF approval by RTA?
Basically, we are supposed to get an account opening form from the exchange platform. So that account opening form will be verified for signature, and we will make the change. First statement.
But sir, NSE has a digital confirmation. Where is the signature NSE has?
No. Okay. Now you're talking. Okay. Where the account opening form? It's a digital mode. Then
Yeah.
actually, okay. Then actually, we have to email ID, mobile number to be verified to only the bank account proof. Something has been recommended by the regulator. So they have to provide the bank account number in the okay. So as additional proof where the signature is available, PAN card or some other copy to be provided, we will evaluate and we'll make the corrections, changes.
Okay, so which means a PAN signature has to match with the application signature.
And along with additional proof of bank account also we need. Okay,
Or
because
an additional proof of bank account. Okay. So Rajesh, I think you've got an answer to that. Amrit writes, if an email or more updated on BSC, will it get updated in all folios as well? I don't think so. That's possible. You have to do it at the RTA level. It has to be done at the RTA level. It cannot be done on the exchange platforms. Correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Pooja writes, if SW is weekly, monthly, then the client's supposed to be authentic. No, I think in the case of STP and SWP, the authentication is only done at the time of registering the STP and the SWP. It is not done on a weekly or a monthly basis.
Yes.
Yeah. Valmiki writes, can you please explain with one example of redemption request of two-faced authentication? I think if you can just explain that.
What do you want? Redemption authentication?
It is one example of the request of, so for example, if I have redeemed today, I trigger a transaction on NSE of redemption of, let's say, 2 lakhs of rupees from my Nippon India equity fund. Correct? So once I trigger that on the website, my email ID, I have registered my email ID and my mobile number. Once I upload that particular redemption, I will get an OTP. Correct? That OTP, I have to accept that OTP. That OTP confirmation goes to the exchange.
Correct.
Exchange then forwards it to the RTA agents, which is in this case KFintech. KFintech will match my OTP has come from my email ID or my mobile number. And then you will check the RTA records saying that does it match with my mobile number or email ID, and you will authenticate it and say that if it matches, then the redemption goes through. If it doesn't match, then it gets rejected.
You are right. Basically, from our point of view, yes. We will be getting that value as part of the transaction feed file. So whatever information is provided and available in the feed file, we will verify with the RTA database. And if it is matching, we allow the transaction. If it is not matching, we will reject the transaction. So that is only our part. Actually, where the OTP, whatever is authenticated by the investor, exchange will take care of it. So they will ensure that OTP is validated by them, and they will, based on that only, they will push the transaction to us. So that will be, there are two parts. One is exchange taking care of certain activity. From our part as concerned, as and when we get a transaction, whatever values are there, that we will check.
Okay, sure. So I hope Valmiki, you have understood it. In case not, please write again. Can you show the entire process of with an example? I just gave you that example. In case if redemption or switches gets rejected, under which report will it show? How instantly will it get updated in your report? This is a very valid question for both of you. Let's say I've given a transaction for a client today. and for some reason the data is not matched and it has been rejected at the RTA level, how am I, which report will I get, will I have an option to see at the end of the day what transactions have gone through and what transactions have not gone through?
Gautam, can you put the report number in the chat? Okay, and meantime, one more clarification. Wherever the digital account is getting opened through NSE, we a signature point of view, we also verifying the KRA signatures. If the KYC, we'll also, the particular customer will download the KYC form.
Sure.
In that signature is available. The signature also we are considering for updating that validating sign. Okay, current request.
Sure.
NCT.
Sure.
Okay.
So I think, yeah.
On
So,
the rejections and process, we also share the feed with exchange platforms. So from there also they can download. At the same time, Gautam will be sharing in chat on the process transaction report. There's a transaction feedback which is available. He will just type it on the chat.
That rejection remarks will be there.
and the rejection remarks will be there.
Yes.
Okay, fine, sure. So I think Paresh, you've got your answer. Can you show us the entire process of two-factor authentication? Again, I've just explained. MFU does that when we update email and mobile in MFU to get update of all folios. I'm not able to understand this question.
Okay, in if you when you update email and feed to all mutual funds.
I don't know if Amrit is trying to say that if you update the email ID and mobile number in MFU, that data is being shared to all folios across CAMS, K FinTech, RTAs. I think that's what he means to say. Thanks. One day.
Today, there also MFE also, we told them the investor customer request is required. It will come through NCT request, then we'll process. No auto updation will happen.
Sir, can you explain that again, please?
MFU, wherever you are making a email ID, mobile number change, there also we need a customer request to be pushed from MFU to us. Then it will get updated. All the CAN number mapped folios. Okay, but only thing request should come from MFU as a physical signed request of the customer.
Acha, physical sign request is also required in the MFU. That is what you are insisting from
Exactly.
now.
Yeah, correct.
Okay. So I think Amrit, I think this is something that is new that we learned today, saying that there is a request, physical request form also, which is mandated by K FinTech, saying that if they want any change of email and mobile number through MFU, then it has to be a physical request. Okay. Nivedita writes, on the same day as NAV as per customer request, the debit mandate option will be selected. I'm not getting your question, Nivedita. Bharat Kumar writes, so one-time authentication will be depending on folio level when the redemption or switch transaction is done for the first time. Mario, question to you.
No. So switch and redemption is concerned every transaction. What we are agreed is SWP and STP. Both will be a registration time.
Yes.
So otherwise, switches and redemption, every transaction, two-factor authentication required.
Yes, every transaction, every folio redemption, there is a two-factor authentication which is required.
Yes.
So Gautam writes, saying the transaction gets rejected at exception level, response is generated on the fly with the exchanges in seconds. Yes, that is true, but then you will have to go and check the feeds that you will have to download from the exchanges to find out if the transactions have happened or not. Amita writes, in online transaction, if there is a mismatch of mobile number and email ID with RTA, the transaction gets, instead of this, if there is a mismatch, don't allow to execute transaction. Is that possible?
No, actually, your transaction getting accepted at exchange level, how we can able to control that? Actually, the numbers are valid. And exchange already put a validation, they can able to control it.
Yeah, it is not at the execution level that we can screen it. It is only at the, I think at the exchange levels that this can be, when the mismatch happens, can be rejected.
Correct.
Niyati, which is Karvi file where we are able to see folio wise email and mobile number. Niyati, today we have already discussed. It is for MFS 211 for K FinTech, and it is WBR 9 in CAMS. So this is a question again, does this two-factor, I don't think it is applicable for non-individuals and also for HUFs, and it is applicable for proprietorship firms, accounts, but it is not for non-individuals and HUFs, right?
No, actually, now the last clarification received is it is applicable for HUF, not for in general, non is not applicable. HUF, but is required.
Okay, so HUF is required, proprietors is required, and all individuals is required.
Right.
For minors also it is required.
Yes.
Yes, for minors also it is required. Only in the case of corporates, it is not required. Not individual. No.
Only for corporate is not applicable. Right? Yes.
Yeah, it is not applicable. Correct? Yeah.
Yes.
I think Pooja, I've answered this. Yes, you can physically change that at the RTA end, the email ID and mobile number. Can you please explain that I can update my mobile ID through? I think Prabin, just now they have just clarified saying that in case you want to do an updation of mobile number and email ID through MFU online, now they have also started asking for a physical copy, physical request signed by the investors. Correct me if I am wrong, and if you can elaborate, Mario.
Yeah, correct. That is MFU. Okay, not MFU.
MFU.
Yeah, correct. Because MFU NCT request now automatically never get updated at KFIN level. So basically, it has to be come through a physical request. When NCT request supposed to come from them with the supporting.
Yeah.
Today we are not. Yeah.
So Praveen, you cannot do it on MFU on an online basis. It has to be with the client signature and a physical form. Bina, in simple way, like investors do investor authentication, OTP in mobile and email ID, right? Bina, no. Either the authentication will have to be done on the OTP has to be done either on the mobile or on the email ID, not on both. When we are speaking about two-factor authentication, one authentication will be by the exchange. When you give an OTP to the exchange, either on a mobile or on an email ID, the second factor authentication will happen at the KRA level. When the data is shared from the exchanges to the RTA agents will check with the folio records. That is the second time the authentication will happen.
No, let's see, the two-factor authentication is your login credential of your platform wherever you are login, and OTP is your second authentication. That both authentication happen at exchange level only. Actually, so it is not we are doing, actually we will be only verifying that values coming from them is matching with our record or not. That verification only we are doing it. But two-factor authentication is a login credential and the OTP. There are two factors. One is the login is one factor, OTP second factor.
So what is login?
Login is your platform, NSE or BSE, where your user ID and password will be there for you to log in. No, then only you do a transaction. That is for individual. No, they send a link. So therefore they are sending a link. So then your email is getting triggered to the investor for initiating a transaction, and also one OTP also been triggered to the customer to authenticate the OTP and also acknowledge the redemption. I mean the particular email ID, whatever this triggered from your end. So from NSE platform, from NSE platform, you will be triggering a transaction to the customer for making the payment initiating the redemption request.
Correct.
So that is the one email. Email is getting the one level of
Sir,
authentication.
it's an email or a mobile authentication.
And also one more OTP also been triggered, if I'm right. In addition to the email trigger, also one OTP also to be confirmed
Yes.
that redemption.
But I have to only authenticate one of it, right? So,
No.
if I have a mobile number and if I have an email ID, today I have given a redemption today. Okay. My email ID and my mobile number is registered. I will
Correct.
get a message on my mobile as well as my email.
Correct.
I have to only accept one of them. I don't need to accept both.
No. One is the transaction request is getting triggered, correct? So does the transaction request being delivered to the email ID only mostly? The emails, whatever. For example, I'm executing a transaction on behalf of a customer. So I will be sending a redemption request to the transaction request to the customer email ID.
Yes.
So then customer logging to the when in mobile, you will see that information. While authorizing that, whether is one more OTP, I've been recently we started. So
Yeah, it is.
Sir, listen. I have an investment. Okay. My distributor triggers a redemption transaction.
Correct. A
Okay.
link will be sent to you.
And the link will be sent to me on my mobile and on my email ID.
Absolutely.
Correct. I have to accept either that on my mobile or on my email ID. One of them. I don't need to accept both.
Right.
No.
When you accept that, will you
Yes.
get an OTP before making it before submitting that final transaction?
No, we don't get that.
Then that is required.
We only have to do it once and then it goes to the NSE. So my distributor will trigger the redemption transaction. OTP will come to me on my mobile or on my email ID. I have to accept one of them. That goes to the exchange.
Okay, once again. So we are talking here about a link of the transaction which comes to the mobile and email.
Yes.
And when you click that link, is there a OTP, numeric OTP, which you have to update?
No. It only accepts saying that yes or no. I have to say accept yes or no, and the transaction goes to the exchange with my yes.
Okay, and this is for both BSC platform and NSE platform?
I know about NSE. I'm not very sure about BSC.
Okay, because from our DIT, this is the two-factor authentication that is available.
Not meeting actually.
In fact, in the investor direct websites as well, when they transact, first is about logging into the app. Next is an OTP. We will speak to NSE as well.
Mario, my only question to you is, when you're talking about two-factor authentication, earlier on, the second factor of authentication, what was not happening was that particular email ID was not being checked with the RTA. The only new development that has happened is today you are going to check from where I am going to send my OTP, which is either my mobile or from my email ID. The second authentication that you are going to do is by checking that my mobile number is matching with the RTA records. That is the new second authentication, two-factor authentication, which is happening. Hello? Again, we have lost them. Hello? Have I lost or have we lost them?
You can see the screen, ma'am.
Where was I? Why is it so hot? Why am I sweating? Mario? Hello? Mario? Mario? Hello? Ronald, can you just call him
Yeah.
up and speak to him, please?
He's on the call, ma'am, with me. Okay. He's joining, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay, ma'am.
Is being recorded.
Hello. We are back.
Hello.
Yeah, Mario.
So sorry, disturbance again.
Yeah.
What I understand from NSE side also, they are for redemptions, they are sending the transaction link to the email ID and SM OTP to the SM mobile number.
Yes,
And
sir.
that's so the two level. One is a link is transaction link is going to email one, and OTP going to mobile. So that's why they are claiming the two-factor authentication. They are already adhering to that.
But sir, earlier on also it used to happen the same way. Before the 1st of, even before 1st of July, that is what the process used to be, that the email, that the trigger used to go to the email and OTP. I think the second factor authentication is basically, from what I understand, is what we were not checking is what is the data available in the RTA. So today, because you're checking the data which is available in the RTA to match that, that's where the second factor authentication is coming into place. That's what my basic understanding is. So let's say that what is the next transaction acceptance response is generated. So in case of NRIs, what is the, what would the, if say for example, an NRI would get a trigger by email ID only, or it is also with the mobile number? There again, they have a connection issue. I think they have a connection issue. Mario, you are on mute. Yeah, sorry, you are on mute. So can I just ask you, saying that what happens in case of an NRI?
Unable to hear you. No.
Can you hear me?
Not able to hear you.
Mario, we can hear you very well.
You also joined. You dial in.
Mario, can you? You'll have to come out from one of
Let
the.
mute. Yeah. Yeah. You can hear us now?
Yes, we can hear you. So my question is, what happens in the case of an NRI when the NRI triggers a redemption? Will the OTP go only on the mobile or on the email ID?
That I have to check actually. Now the confirmation which I got it from NSE team is actually they are sending for Indian NRI. I have not questioned them, so let me, because I have been Chetan. I am aware of Chetan. Chetan was saying that they are two-factor authentication. One is a email, one is a mobile. So now you are saying NRI mobile, we cannot send SMS. OTP cannot be sent. I agree with you. I have to check with him only.
So what?
But ideally, in our platform, we send the OTP on email.
Yeah.
So what happens is when we did this event with CAMS, they were very clear saying that when it comes to NRI, the transaction OTP will only go by email and it will not go by the mobile number. So all the NRI transaction redemption will happen only on email.
Yeah, so, then the two-factor is not there. That's what only point is. There is no two-factor authentication.
No, that is not.
If it's a KFIN platform, yeah, if it's a KFIN platform or AMC platform that we service, the NRI redemption request will go on email. The OTP is also an email. We are not sure about the NSE platform. We will just confirm back with the NSE platform.
Okay, sure. But sir, we need to be on the same page on the two-factor authentication. From what I understand on the two-factor authentication, today, when the two-factor authentication is not implemented, when I do a redemption today, the OTP goes through the email and also goes through the mobile. And I have to accept either on the mobile or on the email. Correct? Even today. From what I understand, and today there is no checking that happens saying that email ID is absolutely matching with the folio records. So the two-factor authentication is coming only because you are going and checking the data in your folio, that the trigger that my acceptance of the OTP mobile number, in case if I have accepted in mobile and the mobile number registered in the folio number is same, then you will accept that transaction. So that two-factor authentication is happening for that checking on with the folio.
Okay, actually, that is not a two-factor. This is over and above to the validation, which is regulator asking us to do, because the email, OTP, whatever you are doing a two-factor should go only to the email ID, mobile number registered in the RTA database, AMC books. That only you are supposed to trigger today, because it is entire issue cropped up some time back where there is no mismatch between NSE platform mobile number as well as our mobile number. So that's why the entire thing started actually. Okay.
Yeah.
The only thing is so RTA will do only validation of information, whatever we are getting a part of the feed file is matching with our record. So that is not actually not a two-factor at all. The two-factor is expected other way. One is normally says one is a login credential, OTP. There are two. That's a two-factor actually. But NRI as concerned, I have to check with the NSE BSC only. I'm not aware about that.
Sure, okay. Sure. So Pooja writes if email data in case. I think we have answered that. Can you explain that? I can update. Okay, I've done that. Beena writes it a simple way. Okay, I've done that. 8. Okay, Santosh writes saying that what if 8 family members folio registered the same email ID and the mobile number? Will it work?
Family flagging has to be done to begin with.
Okay.
And then whosoever is giving it as a transaction, the OTP will go to the same mobile number or email ID.
So that is fine with it. Yeah. Okay.
But they'll have to be a family flagging certification, either a physical request for flagging as a family or the online request has to be given in advance.
Okay, so you can share me that and I will share it with everybody saying that authentication from the family has to come in with a signature. Sure. Okay.
Correct.
Is commercial transaction allowed for all folios on the MF Central platform? Pratiksha wants an answer. Mario.
Sorry, MF Central.
MF Central, commercial transactions are allowed
Now
now.
allowed, yes.
On
It has
all?
been launched recently.
Okay, fine, sure. No, I don't think two-factor application for partnership firms and LLP. It's not mandatory, right?
Not required.
No,
Not required.
not
Yes.
required.
Yeah.
Not required. Okay, I think Sarvesh, you've got an answer. Okay, I've asked this question saying that with regard to NRI, Paresh. The Prabin again writes saying that if I'm initiating a redemption or switch through CANS or K FinTech online, will it also get verified with NSE? No.
Sorry. What is the question now?
If the transaction go through K FinTech online, to verify the data on NSE? No.
No.
Praveen, no, it will not be. It is only it will not be checked as two-factor.
Yeah, basically the entire purpose source of truth is the data of AMC. That's the source of truth data.
Sure. Okay. Suyash is basically if there are no changes in authentication process, it is same only. It should same for folio IIN numbers, no extra OTP. I didn't get him. Again, there is a question for MFU authorization through email or OTP, then investors will receive OTP on email or mobile registered in folio. Here, additional OTP is required for MFU.
So that we need to check with MFU.
Yeah.
We will definitely do that with all the external sources.
And please,
actually,
please write an FAQ and send it across to us that we can share it.
Yeah, two-factor authentication has been handled at MFU and NSE and BSE end. Over and above to the two-factor authentication, it is an additional validation of by given email ID, mobile number matching with RTA record is we are doing it.
So as an RTA, our role is when we get the transaction feed, we get the OTP and OTP flagging and the value on which is either email or mobile or both on which the OTP was sent, and we only do the validation. Sure. How the OTP is triggered and all, we will come back after verifying with the third parties, which is BSC exchange platform and MFU.
Yeah. Aarti writes in BSC also we can authenticate through email and mobile number, yes and no. Okay, that's the same way as what happens in NSE.
Yeah.
Okay. Beena writes, I just understand that mobile OTP authentication by anyone or RTA, check the same with on mobile. Okay, I think we can skip this, Sarvesh. Client gets email with a link in which the client has to tick the transactions with check mark on checkbox if he's willing to go ahead and save the transaction, whereas the K FinTech DIT, they make client to put check mark or approve button and also to put OTP after that, and then the transaction is complete. Is this trying to say, I think your system, that's what he's trying to say about your system.
Yeah.
I don't use it much, so if you can clarify on that.
No, actually, our current DIT portal, the transaction link is getting triggered to the customer email ID, and a separate OTP also getting triggered to his mobile number. And to authorize the transaction, he has to select and he has to input the OTP to authorize the transaction. So after the two-factor authentication implementation, that was made compulsory now. So that's why we are talking about from our end, we are doing it. Our DIT portal, if you do any transaction, transaction feed as well as the OTP, both will be triggered.
Okay, sure. So there is a question which talks about, I think two-factor is for direct investors. They use their email ID to log into portals like Fund Bazaar portals. provided by and through another mail ID is registered at the AMC or RTA is different. Jagdish, I'm not able to understand your question. Is any transaction investigate links on his mobile or is any he clicks on the link on window open option. I think Amrit, they've answered the question. When doing family tagging in contact verification, it gives option for dependent parent, dependent children. What if they are independent and want to use common email IDs for family folios? Then you have to give a letter with all the signatures of the family for one email ID. Correct, Mario?
Correct. Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So I think we've finished all the questions here. Let me see if there are any more questions. Please explain implications. So. Yeah. Okay, now tell me one thing. In the case of SWP and STP, when you trigger the OTP, is the client supposed to accept it before 3 o'clock or can it be accepted by end of the day?
Before the cutoff.
Yes.
Even if it's SWP and STP?
No, triggers not required at all. No, we already triggers. No, first time only. First
time only I'm asking. First time only I'm asking. First time.
So if the exchange platform is sending us a transaction.
Yes.
Before the transaction is sent to us, the OTP has to be validated. Because they will have the value on which is contact details on which the OTP has been triggered with the OTP flagging.
Correct.
And hence before the transaction cutoff is there and
yes,
before the transaction cutoff time and before the exchange platform gives us the transaction feed, all the processing has to be done.
No.
Because exchange transaction cutoff for exchanges to submit the transaction feed is also 3 for equity and not for liquid it's 130.
No, why I'm asking because in an SWP and STP, my SWP and STP is going to be triggered after 7 days, after 1 month. So today what happens is if I'm doing if I'm triggering a transaction, the client can accept by end of the day and not before 3 o'clock because it is not subject to the same day NAV or something.
No. First of all, there are two type of transaction. One is along with the transaction request, you are registering STP. One is a standalone STP SWP registration. Standalone STP SWP registration is like an NCT type only. So there the cutoff time is not applicable. When you are triggering a first transaction along with STP request or first transaction along with SWP, then it should be cutoff time. Okay, if your first transaction not getting processed today, then cutoff time is not applicable.
Okay, so which means first I have to invest in, say for example, if I'm doing an STP, first I will invest in the liquid fund. Then I will give the application. After it is clear, I will give the SWP or STP.
Correct. So you are correct. You are right. STP request. If today you are giving a STP request and asking us to start the STP from today onwards, the first STP getting triggered today, then that cutoff time is required. If you are STP saying that you are going to be triggered next Monday, okay, then actually the cutoff time is not applicable. That's why I'm there is a got standalone. One is a got is not a receipt along with the request. First transaction you have to consider.
So which means what are you saying is, say for example, if I am doing a liquid purchase and along with that liquid purchase, if I'm giving you an SWP or an STP instruction,
yes,
acceptance has to be before 3 o'clock.
Correct.
But if I have already done a liquid money which is available, or if there is money in my equity funds, and I have to set up a SWP, I can trigger that SWP, but I can accept the OTP by the end of the day, and it is then not necessary that it should be before 3 o'clock.
And the transaction, then see the first STP transaction will start from subsequent future date, not on the same date. For the,
Absolutely.
Agreed. Yes.
Because even if I give you
yes, you are right.
Even if I give you an STP today, you are not going to do the STP today. You will only have to do it from tomorrow, right?
No, no. Actually, what is happening for NSE as well as MFU and all, the STP requests are getting registered at their end. Okay, and we are getting a switch out request only from the exchange platform or MFU with the indication that it is a systematic. Okay, so that's where from RTA point of view, we are getting a transaction request only. We are not getting any registration at our end. The registration will happen at your end while sending that SAP as a transaction type as SAP systematic, and along with the number we are going to get. The number is number 1 will come. The first is systematic in a transaction mean 1 will come. So based on the condition 1, wherever the trigger account is 1, then we are expecting the 2-factor authentication requirement. If the transaction subsequently pushed with 2 and 3 and 4, so then we will be verifying that, and we are also creating a registration at our firm only for record purpose. Wherever we are getting a first STP, then we are creating for record purpose. This STP has been registered to MFU or registered to NSE. So we are not only thing is OTP. Subsequently, when we get a STP request, we will verify the number which is coming from the part of the feed file. We will compare and will allow the transaction without expecting 2-factor authentication.
Sure. Because why this question was because any STP that we give, it takes 7 working days for the STP to get registered.
At exchange
platform or at the MFE side, not at our end.
At our end, it is only a transaction feed that we get. Transaction number 1 is where we will validate an OTP. Transaction number 2 onwards, we don't validate anything.
We'll not validate it, but only we check the numbers, whether it's already entry there or not.
Yeah, that's all.
Sure.
Whether it's registered.
Sure. So obviously now we've gone through all of this, and thank you so much for all of your time. I think the most important thing, Mario and Mr. Padmanabhan, right? If I'm Parameshwaran. What I expect is saying that if you can do a FAQ about how this process works, because this is going to be very useful for the members across, and it'll become a handbook kind of a thing to a lot of members to understand how this works, and also to give their back office staff so that there is no issue going forward.
Sure. And if you can get the copy of the chat, we will also respond back on the chat questions.
Sure. So basically an FAQ kind of a thing which we can send, and let me see if I can take a picture of this chat. I will tell my colleague to do that, and we will get that done, and we will forward it to you and the team, Mario.
Sure.
And Mario, I expect you to send me the forms for family declaration. If you can share it with me, then I will also share it with all the members. We'll send it across to them by email. I'll also share it with WhatsApp, and I'll share it with all the members.
Sure, we'll do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for this, and I really appreciate your time and efforts and everything. And I'm sure that it has been helpful to our members. And in future also, we will definitely come back to you in case we need any assistance from your side.
Anytime. And thanks for the
one more request before we end.
Sure.
I will just give you time before we end. We would definitely like KFintech to give us a email ID for members to write in case if there is any clarity that we need to seek or something. So if you can help us with that, so that where the distributors can write, find out, because this is the first time it's happening. And obviously, this has to be a smooth process. So really appreciate if you can send us some email ID where the distributors can write to you.
Along with the FAQs, we will also mention the email ID as part of the document.
Absolutely. Perfect. Thank you. Yeah, floor is yours.
Thank you, Rupa. Thanks for this opportunity. Thanks to the entire fraternity for being patient, and sorry for the disturbance that has happened in between. But I hope this session is pretty helpful for all of you. We are here to support. We are here to enable you to do business. Please we will encourage you to use digital platforms as much as possible, because that's the ease of transactions that you can always prefer. Also, for some of the queries, while you're using exchange platforms for transaction posting, any other mailbacks or other services, I also encourage you and request you to download the KFinCart app, because that will help you in many other ways. They are not just for transactions. All the mailbacks are there, NCT requests, you can always initiate through the distributor app. So while your transactions, I don't want to deviate your exchange platforms. At the same time, I would request you to download the KFinCart app for other services.
Sure.
So thank you. Thanks once again for being patient with us. Thanks, Rupa, for organizing this. Special mention for you. Special thanks to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, and really appreciate. And all of you have a very good evening. Thank you. Take care.
Thank you. And Rupa, I would like to listen to the feedback from the fraternity if everything has gone well and they like the session. Yeah.
Sure. We will definitely raise up any questions or anything, but please do share whatever that we have discussed so that I can share it with the members.
100%. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Have a good evening. Bye. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you.